Go right into questions. Go ahead and start. Jim Quad.
Coach, you guys get up to your best start this year, especially from behind the three-point line, hitting 4 straight, and then after about 8 minutes, there was this big change. What happened at that point where Auburn started to turn the tide on this game?
I thought both teams came out ready to play. I mean, from a physical standpoint, we couldn't really move the ball. I mean, I just look back at our very first play that we tried to execute. You know, that's just how they play. And I thought, even with that, we overcame early their physicality and made shots and got stops and got rebounds. And then, you know, I made some substitutions, and I'm not putting it on our bench because when I put our starters back in the game, the score was tied. And then they just physically took us out of everything that we wanted to do. So you got to give them credit. I'm not happy with the way we played tonight. I mean, it's kind of like a carbon copy of our UConn game, you know, where they couldn't score, we couldn't score, and it was back and forth, and then finally we just caved in. And that's something we got to get better in that area in terms of putting a 40-minute ball game. I thought we came out ready to play. I mean, up 12, can't have a lopsided game like that. That's kind of on me.
Tom and Jeff.
Mike, you gave up 104 points, but also only forced 3 turnovers. I mean, what was the problem specifically?
That was the difference. You just kind of hit it on the head. 3 turnovers. I say that they were the most physical team tonight. And, you know, I mean, a game like this, you got to force more turnovers, get more stops. You know, the rebounding wasn't that big of a difference, but I just thought physically they were the better team tonight.
Jeff and Todd.
Yeah, Coach, like you said, you guys got up 22-10, and then when the starters came out, I think it was a 20-4 Auburn run. Was there any thought of maybe not taking, you know, Ware and Baco and Renault out at the same time?
Was there any thought of me not taking? I kind of substitute pretty much the same way every game. You can't just burn them. Bottom line was when my starters got back in the game, it was probably a close tied game. And the same guys that were on the floor when we started the game went the other way. That was the difference in the ball game. So, I mean, you can't play them for 40 minutes. You gotta play some of your bench guys. And I believe in my bench, so I went to my bench. It was my bench in the Michigan game that helped us win the game.
Todd and Mike.
Mike, Colella and Malik were listed questionable before the game. They obviously played. Was there anything, first of all, why were they questionable? And secondly, anything that you feel like it affected them in terms of being able to play physical?
No, I mean, again, I'm not using that as an excuse. Hell, they started the game, and we didn't play well as a unit, and I got to get us in a better position. You know, especially when we're playing teams like that. You know, we got a big week this week coming up where we got to play Kansas. We got a week to prepare. I got to get us in a better place where we can put a 40-minute ball game together against a really elite team.
Mike, down here.
Yeah, Mike, in terms of the second half, you said you caved in a little bit. Do you want to see so similar to UConn, more fire-fitted players in those moments of leadership on the court? Do you think that's kind of been lacking in some of those moments where it could go either way and then, you know, turn it back against you?
Again, I mean, you know, not having X, and I'm not using it as an excuse. I mean, he's a senior point guard that could score the ball and make plays for, especially when we're being pressure like we were, and that hurt. But again, you showed wonderful signs tonight against a good team, you know, early on, and we just didn't sustain it over the 40-minute ball game.
Right here, then we'll wrap up with Seth.
You mentioned UConn a little bit earlier. You guys ripped off 4 straight wins after that. What do you feel like this loss, though, kind of says about where you guys are at right now?
We got a lot of work still in front of us. You know, I mean, I've always said that. You know, we got to take it a practice at a time, a game at a time, and build. I mean, you know, this won't set us back. We'll rebound from it and keep marching along.
Last question, Seth.
You mentioned the full court pressure that you faced, and obviously having X would have helped you with that a little bit. But you know, that's kind of how Auburn started to turn the tide a little bit. Just what sort of issues was that causing for you guys?
Again, I mean, they didn't do anything differently than we thought they would do, and they pressed us right from the start, and we were able to get the ball in and make plays. And I don't know if fatigue set in. You know, Malik threw a couple of them away, you know, as the guy that was taking the ball out of bounds, and we just didn't execute in certain situations. I mean, once we got the ball in, I mean, the pressure was relieved and we just get the ball up, but we didn't execute in the half-court set.
All right, thanks, Coach.